Well, as the country prepares for this year's national elections, Jama-ah is today launching its manifesto. The organization is set to outline to its members its aims and policies which govern its structures. Jama-ah has in recent years made its mark, most notably in the city of Johannesburg, as seen by the election of its members, former Mayor Thapelo Ahmad and current Mayor Kabelo Kwamanda. Well, let's take you now to Newzroom Afrika's Katleho Sekhotho, who has more from Lenasia. Katleho, I know that proceedings expected to kick off at 11 a.m. this morning, but what are we seeing those preparations looking like so far?
Good morning, Naledi. Indeed, it's all preparations here in Lenasia, where it's a big day for the organization Jama-ah as it launches its manifesto. Now, we heard earlier on from former Joburg Mayor Thapelo Ahmad, who's also the Gauteng Premier candidate for the organization, just outlining that, their manifesto and their policies and direction, very community, geared in terms of empowering communities on ground level. And as the manifesto highlights, making sure that people have access to clean drinking water, that people are kept safe, so looking at the numbers and the rates of crime, but also making sure that, children are protected. And speaking about children and women in particular, so the most vulnerable in society, I have with me Shameemah, who's the national spokesperson, but also an executive member in the Women's League of the organization. Shameemah, thank you for your time. I mean, just take us through, as the Women's League, the work that you're doing and how it will be reflected in the manifesto.
Well, the woman in Jama-ah is absolutely phenomenal. As we know, women is capable of forming coalitions with everybody in order to network in such a way that we do the best possible for our communities. So the Jama-ah woman has been extremely busy. However, we only formally formulated the Jama-ah Women's League in August of 2023. So I'm one of the executive members, but the chair is Malatuli. So from Malatuli and the peanut butter factory that she's established in order to empower women and create sustainability for them to look after their families, we've had the projects of the sewing, where we've purchased machines, we've provided it to women, we've provided them with the skills of sewing in order for women to be able to provide for their families. Because very often you have women who doesn't have maybe the education levels, but they have the ability to sew. And we want women to be able to have that label behind their name, to create that branding and to obviously be able to support their families. Not just that, the Women's League has been extremely busy with disasters. In the cases of fires, floods, etc., we have been on the forefront of assisting at homes in providing for food, mattresses, clothing, and also cleaning up of the impacted home. So these are things that, just a few of the things that the party has done. We've also got the Villages League. We have got the agricultural sector, where women are also involved in growth of produce and the sale thereof. We also have in Umzinto the sewing project that which started with the sewing machines, providing of materials, providing of the skills, has now flown into Umzinto, as well as we are approached by many other communities throughout South Africa in order to assist. Because once upon a time, what we forget, South Africa was a clothing mecca of many of the country, and we supported and supplied, imported and exported on clothing as well. So we want people, and especially our women, to have the dignity and the sustainability in order to look after their families, and even to extend to single men who are divorcees and fathers raising children, because the best interest and the welfare of children is of paramount interest. And in the country that we are living in and around the world, we had International Women's Day, and it was shocking to see the stats on murder, on rape, on sexual offences that especially women and children are impacted by. We are very with regard to Palestine, we do feel for our brothers and sisters in Palestine, because if we look at the stats, the massacre that they are currently going through far exceeds what we are seeing right here. But we cannot ignore what is happening in our own country. But I believe that Jama-ah is such a big party with such a big heart that we welcome all communities, we welcome all women, that we can ensure beneficial change in our country.
Yeah. Certainly, and I just want to ask you, in terms of the work you're doing, and we see that Jama-ah being very part of coalition structures, and those coalition structures almost determining how you move and the extent at which you can operate. In terms of the Women's League and the work you're trying to carry out within these kind of coalition structures, what are the challenges you're facing there?
I must be honest, you will find challenges. I find challenges in the DA sector, for example. There's something called the Salga Women's League. And there is no political will, for example, in the city of Cape Town to ensure that the Salga Women Leagues actually work, because I'm one of the representatives, and to date we had no meeting since 2022 when it was introduced to us. So we've seen lots of challenges. So the thing is, that is one challenge I see. I did say there wasn't a political will, though there was individuals who are very much wanting the women to come together. But I strongly suspect in certain political parties, the fear is the woman. Because when women comes together, they are a force that takes away all ego, etc., surely just to benefit the country.
Yeah.
So that is what I do see, but I do work with many other political parties, and we have a common goal. And that is why we're able to perform coalitions, because Al Jama-ah is one of those parties that it's God conscious, it's honest, it's trustworthy, it has integrity, it has dignity, and the desire is to help people, and we do have the very same values in other political parties that we can work with for that common goal.
And I guess just your last message ahead of the elections. We know, people are divided. Some people very sure they'll be going to the ballot box. Others feeling quite strongly that they won't. I mean, the people who decide that they won't vote, what's your message to those people?
Please do vote. We have to look after our offspring. Our offspring is actually in danger without us realizing it. Our failure to exercise our right to vote will ultimately impact upon them. One day they're going to look back at that day and ask, what did my parents and my grandparents leave? What legacy did they leave for me? So please exercise your right to vote, because it is known that if you don't vote, your vote goes to the majority party. So exercise the right to vote for a party that you feel most comfortable with, and the party that has the honesty, the integrity, and the consciousness to ensure that the best interest of the country is first priority.
But you do understand that's a misconception, that if you don't vote, your vote goes to another party.
Well, that is what has been said. I've heard that as well, but I think somebody has to clear it up. But it has been very much known that this is what's happening. So unless somebody can clarify it and prove that it's not happening, I think I will reserve the right to remain silent at that point.
So I think we'll leave that to the IEC to clarify.
There we go.
Thank you very much for your time. Naledi, you heard it there from Ms. Salie. Shameemah, executive in the Women's League, also national spokesperson of Al Jama-ah, just highlighting there the work that they're doing from a community perspective as it relates to empowering women and children in communities, and just highlighting that it's about doing the work at a grassroots level and making sure that people feel like they have access to basic services and care, but also making sure that the most vulnerable in society are protected.